It started like any other day in the quiet town of Elmridge. Children laughed as they skipped stones across the creek, shopkeepers opened their storefronts, and the warm sunlight filtered through the trees that lined Main Street. But one figure stood out, a frail old man, wearing a tattered brown coat and a faded military cap, sitting quietly on a bench across from the town square. His name was Walter Granger. To the townspeople, he was just an old drifter, silent, odd, and always scribbling in his worn leather notebook. Most people avoided him. Some mocked him. Others wished he'd just disappear. What they didn't know, what no one had bothered to ask, was that this old man had once carried the weight of freedom on his back. He had fought, bled, and lost his brothers in arms in a war that gave the very same people mocking him the peace they enjoyed today. But that truth remained buried. One afternoon, the town council called a meeting. Rumors had spread that Walter had been scaring kids. A few teenagers claimed he yelled at them for loitering too close to the war monument. A monument he had helped build decades ago. "Something must be done," said Councilman Briggs. "He's becoming a nuisance. We have to think about the image of our town." Nobody opposed it. Nobody stood for Walter. Except one person. Lena Monroe, a young journalist working for the local paper. She had often seen Walter at the library, reading old military archives. There was something in his eyes that didn't match his clothes. Depth. Pain. A story. She decided to find out who he really was. That night, Lena searched for records, anything with Walter Granger's name. Hours later, she found it. Her fingers trembled as she opened a dusty file. Sergeant Walter Granger, 42nd Infantry, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart. Her mouth fell open. She dove deeper. Newspaper clippings from the 1970s showed a younger Walter being celebrated in the very same town. One photo showed the mayor shaking his hand, the streets lined with flags. So what happened? Why had everyone forgotten him? In the early 1980s, Walter had lost his wife to illness. Then his only son died in a car crash. Overwhelmed with grief, Walter withdrew. He stopped speaking to people. Eventually, he gave up his home and wandered, partly by choice, partly because grief consumed him. Time passed. New families moved into Elmridge. The war hero faded into obscurity, then into suspicion. When Lena confronted Councilman Briggs with the truth, he scoffed. "Even if it's true, that doesn't give him the right to loiter or frighten kids." Lena's voice trembled. "You'd throw away a man who gave you the freedom to make that judgment?" But the council voted. Walter would be forcibly removed and placed in a state-run facility for the elderly. The next morning, an officer came to escort Walter away. Children watched. Some clapped. But Lena stood in front of him. "Not today. Not like this." She held up her phone, streaming live. "This is Walter Granger," she said to her audience. "This town wants to throw him out. But they've forgotten, he once saved them." The video went viral. Within 48 hours, major news outlets picked it up. Veterans groups, historians, and even the governor's office reached out. The town was flooded with media. Reporters wanted to speak with Walter. People brought flowers, letters, and donations. Some cried. Some begged for forgiveness. Walter, frail and quiet, only said, "I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because it was right." The town council was forced to reverse their decision. A new ceremony was organized to honor Walter's legacy. Lena was asked to speak. That day, Walter wore a fresh suit, the same tattered cap, and on his chest were the medals no one had seen in decades. "This man," Lena said, "was once forgotten by the town he protected. But sometimes, even in silence, heroes wait, not for thanks, but for truth. And today, that truth stands before you." Walter passed away quietly 6 months later. In his sleep, the town built a new bench with his name etched in gold. And every year, on Veterans Day, the town of Elmridge remembers the man they almost erased. Walter Granger. The man they wanted gone, not knowing he once fought for their freedom. Before you go, take a moment to reflect. How many Walters are we walking past today? How many heroes have we forgotten? If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's make sure stories like Walter's are never lost again.